The manager wanted me to stay on for another season. I think that was a mistake. I just remember him going past me 2 or 3 times and I thought, I can't compete with that. Cristiano, when we saw him, geez, we've never seen anything like it.
No.
So I always seen Patrice as a fighter.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You won't mess with him, would you? He's brilliant when I seen him.
I've never seen anything like it. And he was coming towards the end of his career and we only had him for 2 years.
I'm Nicky Butt.
And I'm Paul Scholes.
This is our new show
where we take you inside the greatest era.
Under the greatest manager.
At the best club in the world.
Come with us inside the dressing rooms and onto the pitch. I think I was the only person in Premier League history to score a goal and run off and the camera go on Eric. The camera go on Eric.
As we tell you all about our teammates and the rivalries. I'm pretty sure that was a game where Robbie Fowler scored the goal and not Gary off the ball.
I mean, Nev, what's he doing? I mean, we know Rob, he's a great lad, unbelievable player, but Nev's got just, what's Nev doing? I mean, he's just fell down like
himself in that wrong position.
Fell down like an 82-year-old on his Zimmer frame.
This is football's greatest eras. All good things must come to an end, so this is the final episode of our podcast.
Okay, Scholes, it's the last one of our series. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, been good.
Going over old ground?
Going over old ground, lots of memories that you don't speak about, do you? Probably haven't spoke about stuff like we spoke about for years. You think of the European nights, stuff about the managers, stuff about the leaders. I like that one. Speaking about Brian Robson, Roy Keane, Eric Cantona.
So Scholesy, you already retired once, came back, and you retired second time, 2013. What was that like when you actually knew that was going to be the end?
Yeah, well, I actually thought the first time it was going to be, and then look, we've been over that story. I think the second, I came back for 6 months originally, and then the manager wanted me to stay on for another season. I think that was a mistake.
Yeah,
looking back, because I always remember, I think it was the first home game of that season, the last season of my second retirement was against Tottenham. I didn't actually play badly, but we got beat here 3-2, and I always remember playing. Now, this could have happened when I was 21 against Gareth Bale,
right,
who was just starting to really burst on the scene and was flying. I just remember him going past me 2 or 3 times and I thought, I can't compete with that. There's absolutely no chance. I remember the day after being in the ice bath, you said these big inflatable things on, the pressure. I could have been there for 2 days, honestly.
Yeah.
After I played a game, I couldn't move for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. And
that's when I knew that was the end, really. And it all came down. Look, it was a mistake to do that year because I think I played out 15 games, maybe not even that. I got a few injuries towards the end of it. The manager wanted to play in the last home game here.
Swansea,
the last home game of the season.
Must have been nice for you that though to get. You come off, was it 80, 86, 85 minutes?
Got a 60 odd.
Was it standing ovation when you come off? So I know it's not something you'd like, but when you look back on that with your kids, it's a special moment for you, know?
Yeah. Look, of course. It's a special moment. It's something, as you say, I didn't really want.
Yeah.
I'd rather just go away quietly. And thankfully, it was the manager's last game as well, which I think that helped a bit. That took a lot of the shine away from it, which was absolutely perfect. I think the manager did a speech afterwards, talking about bringing the new manager, accepting the new manager into the club. So it got me away. I could just get off lightly with that.
And the last one?
West Brom away. Yeah, not great memories of that game either.
Just seen a few of our lads off, haven't it? West Brom away.
Brom away, yeah. Seen Gaz off as well, yeah. Do you know what? I was so... I think I came on with 15. I didn't really want to be there. I just wanted it done, over with, dusted. And I think we might have been 5-1 or 5-2 up when I came on. It was a disaster again. And it just confirmed that I was doing the right thing.
Yeah. So,
Nick, you also had to leave. You went to Newcastle and Birmingham.
Yeah.
What were the biggest differences, both playing-wise and culture in the dressing room?
Yeah, I went to Newcastle. It was a club that I wanted to join. I felt at the time that it was still going to challenge for Champions League places. A big club, had some great players, Shearer, Bellamy, Clivert, Jennings, Dyer, Shea Given.
Some players there, weren't there?
Jonathan Woodgate before he went to Real Madrid. So we had Stephen Carr just signed. He was a really good right back. We had a really good squad. And yeah, I love my time up at Newcastle. It was different by way of the fact that the manager changed so often. I mean, from the age of 12 to 31 or 30, I had one manager.
Yeah.
And I went there and for 5 years, with including temporary managers, I had 10. So straight away, you know that things are going to change quite often. And
who's the manager you signed for first?
Sir Bobby.
Sir Bobby.
Yeah, he was a gentleman.
And was he there
man.
for that full first season?
No, funny enough, he got sacked after 3 months.
Really?
Yeah. Instability of the club was difficult, especially for young players. I was 31, 32 experienced, so it wasn't too bad for me. But particularly, you had quite a few young players coming in, and you've got one extreme to the next extreme with different managers, training times change, training techniques change, playing styles change, transfer targets change. And ultimately, you end up where you end up in a position where you've got a massive club that should be challenging up the top, and it's struggling at the bottom of the league. And I think that's what you get. But the fan base up there is phenomenal. I love my time up there. I had some bad times, don't get me wrong, but I love my time up there. And then I had a couple of injuries in my first season. And then obviously I wasn't playing. I didn't want to leave Man United because of not playing to go to another big club and sit on the bench again. So I had an adult conversation at that time with Graham Souness, who I got on really well with. And I just said, look, I'm not being a baby here. I just want to play football. I'm at the age now where I've won quite a lot of stuff. I've enjoyed my career, but now I've probably got 4 years left to play, and I want to play. I don't care where I play, I want to play. And obviously we knew Brucey from Man United days, and he asked me if I'd go.
How long was that into your Newcastle career that you decided to move?
How
long was you there for? 18 months.
18 months, yeah. Because it wasn't that I didn't love the club. And I still do love Newcastle, regardless of what some people might say. I had a great time there. But I needed to play football, and I wanted to play football. I was getting fed up not playing football, and I thought I'm going to retire when I'm 36, 37 and wish I'd have gone somewhere to play football. So I spoke to Brucey. I ended up going there for just over 7 months.
on loan?
On loan, yeah. And then I went back to Newcastle, and I ended up captaining for 2.5, 3 years. So I had a great time there. It was really, really good. It would have been a lot better if we had won stuff. And funny enough, my favourite season there was when we was in the Championship. Only because the atmosphere, the fans...
Sorry, is this Newcastle?
Newcastle, yeah. The atmosphere, the fans. I mean...
Did you win in most weeks?
Winning every game. The atmosphere...
How did you find... Because you played there at a big club, and the media coverage and the scrutiny is on you every day. Was it similar up there? Was it the same?
It's similar because the attention up there in the area, in the city...
In the area itself was massive,
bigger than here. So when you go to Manchester here for a night out or a meal, you get it for a few autographs. There, it was so intense because it's just a one club city, and people are on you. But I liked it. It was great. It was just a shame we didn't do it. And like I was saying, the Championship year was brilliant because everyone was on a high. Everyone was going out happy. It was actually the third highest attendance in Britain. And we were in Championship because it was getting sold out every week. So that was bizarrely a really nice year. And that's when my time came to an end. It was 2011. I felt I was part of the reason we went down because obviously I was part of the team, part of the squad. And I was going to retire. If I wouldn't have got relegated, I would have retired then because I'd gone. But I thought, I can't walk away. I've got to try and help the team get back up. And we did that. And then when we got promotion, I retired, and that was it. We're done.
Nick, I think we always... I can't remember a bad dressing room at United.
Yeah.
When you went to Newcastle, there's a lot of... I think there was a little bit of big characters there, a lot of volatile characters as well. You think... I always remember the incident with Lee Bowyer and Kieran Dyer.
Kieran Dyer, yeah.
So there's a lot of character. Bellamy as well. Big characters up there. Was there any trouble in the dressing room? Was it different to United?
I wouldn't say it was trouble because genuinely they're all good lads. You know, there was a few edgy a bit here, but overall,
Joey Barton as well.
Joey Barton. There was no trouble, but what I felt up at Newcastle was where we was all, and it didn't matter if we was 21, 20 or 35, we'd all have one big dressing room. We'd always go out together. We'd have Brucey taking us out, as we spoke before about. Up there was like, you'd have like the older lads, including me, which was probably like me, Shay Given, Steve Harper, Stephen Carr, Damien Duff, Alan Shearer. That kind of clique would be there. Michael Owen, that kind of clique would be there. And then you'd have the younger ones who are like the Jennis, Dyer, Bellamy, a few of the other lads, Titus Bramble, all good lads, but they had their own little clique. And so it was never really a massive, big togetherness up there. That's what I felt anyway. Coming from United, a changing room that was always together, albeit you'd have your favourites, where we'd always knock them out together. Yeah. Keeney would be more with Dennis and me, and then you'd have certain other lads doing it. But up there, it did feel a bit of a segregated changing rooms, but there was never really any trouble. Nothing that didn't happen here. I mean, I've seen fights in our changing rooms, and it happened up there, and it happens in every changing room up and down the country. But the only thing I would say was it was a total different dynamic where we never all went out as one team. Never. Unless it was in pre-season.
Which is strange.
We never went out, no. Which I with my upbringing here.
That was a part of getting relegated then?
No. The part of getting relegated was swapping managers all the time. They swapped managers too many times. Whether you like Sam Allardyce or not, his Marmite, some like him, some don't. If it had stayed with Sam, we wouldn't have got relegated.
Really?
We would not have got relegated, no chance. The relegation team.
They sacked Sam, and then Shearer took over. There wasn't many games left.
Alan didn't have enough time to do anything.
No.
He couldn't buy any players. He couldn't disappoint anyone, really. He couldn't kick off of anybody. He did, but he's got to be careful how you treat players because they could go under and walk away. But that team, it's all well and good saying it shouldn't get it did, fact. But ability-wise, we had Mark Viduka as well playing. Mark Viduka, Michael Owen, Damien Duff. We had a really good team, and you get relegated. But again, it's because
if you're saying Sam would have stayed, why was you in that position with Sam then?
Well, what happened with that was we just people like Mark Viduka just did not take to Sam, did not want to play for him. Certain other players were just not happy with the style of play. I didn't like the style of play. I've got to be honest with you. I weren't like I was.
Was it like people say? Like I never really come across him.
No, it was basically
it
was playing Sam's. Sam's had an unbelievable career at playing to his strengths, and I don't like people that knock that because he knew what he wanted. Yeah. He knew the style of play, and he's been unbelievable what he's done. And I just feel that if they've had a bit of time, the lads, no one wants to get relegated. No one wants that on TV. They'd have sooner or later they'd have got on board and would have stayed up. But yeah, the problem up there before obviously the new ownership came in was the old ownership. I had no patience.
Is that Mike Ashley?
Yeah, I had no patience. I had no idea of football, and was just getting rid of managers. But what I didn't understand was the managers wasn't really the problem. The players were the problem. Because we're the ones going on a football pitch and performing. And if they're not conforming or getting on board with the manager's got no chance.
Yeah.
So I think some of the big egos and the players should have been gone before the managers, mate. Okay, Scholes, so we touched on it earlier about some of the managers' genius. Obviously, one of them is Rooney and his teams and freshening up and bringing young players in to take the baton forward, i.e. Ronaldo. What do you remember of the first time certainly with Ronaldo, I was there with you when we first encountered Ronaldo. What was your memories of him coming to the football club?
Yeah, well, I think first of all the manager had to renew team. It was that long that he obviously had to renew teams, and he was brilliant at doing it. Obviously Cristiano in the noughties, as we call it, don't we? I think it's 2003. Cristiano came, and we were both playing that game, weren't we?
Yeah.
We came back. We was on pre-season tour in America. I think we were absolutely knackered.
Remember what happened that day? We landed the plane. We went straight to the restaurant for food and then straight to the ground. We didn't even go to an hotel.
Yeah, no, yeah. It was we were knackered, weren't we? Absolutely knackered. We just had a 2.5 week tour or something, and we were opening the stadium.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was a brand new stadium in Lisbon, and look, we played. Our game was a disaster. I think
felt sorry for John.
Remember?
Felt sorry for John.
But
Chasey.
Did that Cristiano when we saw him? Jeez, we'd never seen anything like it.
No,
look, John, obviously. Like you say, you just felt so sorry for him because I'd never seen a lad with so much skill, so much personality to go with it, braveness. He wasn't the biggest of lads at that point, was he? And then we ended up signing him. I actually think he was going to stay there for a year on loan at first.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard there was already a deal done, wasn't he? And then
deal was done.
Played against us, and wow, get him.
Played against him. It was even half time.
Renegotiate.
Everyone's talking about him. I remember Gary Neville speaking about it, and the manager was asking about him, and we just thought, wow, what have we seen?
Yeah.
And then the year after, he obviously brought Wayne as well.
Yeah.
I was a small part of that as well, actually, because we'd played with Wayne for England, hadn't we? And the manager asked me to ring him.
Yeah.
The manager sent me his phone number. He said, I want to sign him. So I rang him at home. It was weird. It was weird conversation. I never spoke to him really before. I'd only seen him for a day at England. I said, well, was it at Scholesy? Look, the gaffer really wants you. He's desperate to sign you. Well, what do you think? He said, yeah. Straight away, I'd love to come. And I think his agent was Paul Stretford, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think from that point then,
they
were in. Look, I had nothing to do with it really, but at that point then they were in contact, and you thought.
I remember being with Wayne at the 2004 Euros.
Yeah.
And if you remember, in the warm up against France, I got injured, did my meniscus, so I was out for the whole tournament.
Did you? Yeah, I don't remember that.
And then when Wayne did his foot, was it his foot he did in that? Was it his meniscus he did in the 2004?
His foot, yeah. Broke his foot.
So I had like a few beers with him in the hotel the evening times, because obviously he couldn't play and I was on crutches. And I remember him being devastated, saying, "That's me moved, knackered, my move's done. I'm not going to."
Yeah, it was that year, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I said to him, "No, don't worry. The manager said he's going to buy you. He'll buy you."
Well, he did the same with Van Nistelrooy.
Van Nistelrooy, yeah. If he was going to buy you, he'll buy you. And I mean, I think he's not appreciated as much as he should be as a club. I don't know if that's the Liverpool-Manchester rivalry. I don't know what it is, but he was phenomenal, wasn't he?
Look, he was out of this world. And I've just watched a couple of games this week, funnily enough. I was watching a bit of a Liverpool one because they're playing Liverpool this week. And the effort, just the sheer effort, we know the quality he had, but pressing people, tackling people.
Beast, wasn't he?
And he probably he came into the team, when you think about it, because the team always had amazing centre forwards. I know you think Andy Cole, Dwight, they had them four, Sheringham and Solskjaer. It's so much to live up to, but he just came and he had the confidence and brashness about him. He didn't care about reputations, did he? His record as well. When you look back, is he leading goal scorer for Man United? 250 odd goals.
Yeah,
he was a little bit for England as well, but the influence them two had on the team, and not just them two. There's other people who came in. You think of Tevez at the time as well, and I always look back and I have a little bit of an eye. Gaz comes up a lot in this, doesn't he? He thinks the 2008 team was the best team.
Does he?
The Tevez, Ronaldo.
It won't be far off, would it? You couldn't really argue against it.
It won't be far off, but I always go back to 99. So I think of them 4 forwards. I don't know how you beat them 4 forwards, but they did come close.
Yeah.
You think of Tevez, Ronaldo, Rooney.
Yeah.
The counter-attacking football really was... It was just on a different level, and the goals they scored, the influence they had on the team, the trophies they went on to win. And it was all about the manager rebuilding teams, and that he had to do it all over the pitch. You think of Carrick, you think of Anderson coming in.
Darren Fletcher came through.
Wes Shazy, some young lads still coming through. He was still building and bringing players into the club, but he was also bringing young players through as well, which was... Again, it had to be a talent.
Well, one player I really liked, obviously, Kleberson came through from Brazil. One player I really liked that I thought should have had an unbelievable career at United was Anderson. Yeah, I think he looked like that kind of player that was, he had that skill, but he also had the strength and the power. And I thought he's going to be there for a long time and be a real stalwart for the football club. And how do you think his career went at United? Look, he seemed a great lad. I didn't know. I never really know him.
Look, he was the nicest lad in the world, the nicest lad you'll meet. I don't think professionally he was great. I don't think he looked after his body as well as he probably should have done. I put him up there with like the Veron signing.
Yeah,
you know, where they've got amazing talent, brilliant footballers, but they just can't seem to fit into a certain position.
Yeah,
there were certain games where I always remember going to Anfield against Gerrard. Best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
Gerrard couldn't lay a finger on him. It was amazing, Anderson. He did have some injury problems and he had real pace, but fitness, and like I say, I just don't think he looked after himself as much as he should have done.
Yeah.
And there was him, there was the manager also, he had to replace characters as well.
Yeah.
I think of characters in the team like Roy Keane and these type. He brought Rio Ferdinand in, he brought Patrice.
What was he like, Patrice? So I know him, but I never played with him. But I've got to know, he came, funny enough, when I was at United coaching, he came as a coach to his badges and I spent a lot of time with him. Great lad. And he was very knowledgeable about football. But he has this side profile of a bit of a comedy actor.
Yeah, a bit of a clown now.
Yeah, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Did you see that in him when he was playing?
No, he was always a great character. I always seen Patrice as a fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You won't mess with him, would you?
No, I always remember Chelsea. I think you obviously weren't there. We were playing Chelsea away, and the players who don't play do a bit of running afterwards, don't they? Mm. And we were running on the pitch, and the groundsman was going mad. Do you remember?
I remember it was on Sky, that wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on Sky. Yeah, it was after the game. I think we'd been beaten, and we're trying to do a little bit of a warm down or a running session as you do after a game. And the groundsman told us to, get off the pitch. We're cutting the grass or something. And Patrice just went.
Yeah.
He's had a god. He just flew over, started throwing punches. And you're talking about fucking 7 or 8 big lads here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Proper groundsmen. Some of them are fucking massive. So I always seen him as that, as a fighting type of character. And look, it took him ages to sell him. Him and Vidic, remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember Patrice's first game at City away?
No.
Trevor Sinclair absolutely destroyed him.
I remember Vidic's first game against Liverpool. Or the first time he played Liverpool, Torres.
Was it? Oh yeah, that was a bad experience as well. But it took them 6 months just to get strong enough to cope with it.
Yeah.
I say Trevor Sinclair, manager took him off at half time.
Yeah.
Patrice's face had just gone. I remember seeing him in the corner. His face had just, his eyes had just gone. He just glazed over. It's like, what has just happened to me here?
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened. Once they got used to it, they were brilliant. And I think Patrice captained the club as well.
Yeah, he was
at some point.
I mean, I loved them two, me. Patrice and
He was a character.
Yeah, both top.
Vidic was hard, wasn't he?
Vidic was a beast. I love the man. I did my coaching badges with the man. He's a top bloke, but to where he ended up was unbelievable. Him and Rio.
Yeah, Rio as well. Yeah. But going back to the Wazza as well, you think with the old Scouts thing, it never really happened, did it?
No.
Even from Everton or Liverpool to come to United, or the other way around.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a little bit.
Much, I think
that's maybe a little bit why you don't get the Wazza gets loads of adulation because
he didn't give a shit about stuff like that.
He doesn't, does he?
Just the character, the personality. He didn't care, did he?
No.
He thought, I'm going to give everything for this club. No, this is a big club. I'm going to come here, win trophies, break records. And like you say, he just doesn't get the credit it deserves. I don't think.
No, it's
still a lot of admiration. Don't get me wrong, because it was brilliant, but still,
should be
not quite
up there.
enough.
So if people say the top 10 players of all time, not a lot of people would put him in that bracket, but he should be by easily.
Should be, yeah. I think the only, if he had a slight disappointment, was that he finished early. Not he finished early, but
if you look at longevity, he started at 16. So basically most would start at 19, 18. Yeah. So he's got 3 years on everybody straight away.
Yeah.
I do think
we talk about being men early, don't we?
Yeah, I think as fans, and I'm only speaking as fans, the chat around he was going to go to City, I think that spoiled a lot of people's opinion on him. So Ronaldo finally arrives and he makes his debut against Bolton. Actually came on for me, funny enough. So I think that's my claim to fame. And literally, I was there with him probably for about 18 months, I reckon. I remember him being a really nice young lad, always pally with Jemba, if you remember, all his best mates. But what got me is his love for training. He was dribbling too much, he was losing the ball too much, but the courage and the bravery he had to keep doing it against big characters and big players in training stood out for me. But I never seen him get to the levels that you did. Tell us what he was actually like in the changing rooms, because like I said, I seen him as a young kid. I didn't see him when he got to the world-class player that he obviously ended up being. I
don't think he ever changed that much in the dressing room, Nick. I think the big change was on the field, really, and on the training pitch. If you remember in them early days, especially, and probably in the 12 to 18 months, there were glimpses of absolute brilliance. But on the other hand, it was frustrating. Yeah. He used to drive up the wall because he's doing all these tricks and flicks. It wasn't really seeing, was it? We needed to see. We want to see people score goals and make goals. You know what I mean? We wanted to see something at the end of it, but he knew, because there were people, even in that Bolton game, you look back at that Bolton, there were people just taking the ball off him at times. You can't do that to us. And he was a skinny, scrawny lad, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But he worked so hard on the training pitch. I don't know if you remember, he used to put weights on his ankles when he was doing runs. He was in the gym with Cleggy all the time as well. And then he just learned. Yeah. He learned. I always remember a game at AC Milan, and it frustrated the life out of me. Yeah. We were playing him away. I can't remember obviously Champions League, I can't remember what score it was, but Gattuso kept running over to him and taking the ball off him. Yeah. And it was doing my head in. He was playing against Maldini anyway. Yeah. But Gattuso just kept coming over, taking the ball off him. And I think from that day, because we were having a right go at him, look, you've got to pass the ball before he gets to you. Yeah. It's quite obvious what's happening. And I think it was after that game that he realised, and he thought, right, that's the game, that's the biggest stage, I'm going to play him. And I wasn't quite up to speed now. Whether he thinks that or what, I don't know, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't game intelligent enough. But I think from that point on, he just excelled. He got bigger, he got quicker, he got stronger, and he learned more.
Yeah. So when you're saying you've seen these little snippets, which I did at early days, and he's getting to what, 20, 21, 22, is there any game where you went, wow, that's it, it's clicked? What was frustrating me with him watching his petulant diving at the start of it all. He stopped doing that, didn't he? And he just stopped doing that. So there's things that I remember within his football journey that all added up to what he was in the end. But was there any game that, like the Arsenal away when he had the black kit on, he looked like a man then, when he had an argument with Thierry Henry? Remember when Thierry tried to pat him on the head?
Yeah,
pat him down, he just went like that, moved him.
Yeah. I think that's when he became a big star.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, I never thought, well, did I think he'd go on? Well, yeah, it's not surprising to what he went on to do. But I don't think there was one special moment. I just think it was that season where he scored 30. I always remember when we were going for the league late on in the season, we were struggling at Fulham away.
Just going to say, Fulham was when it clicked for me.
Fulham, that was the time when I thought, wow.
Yeah,
because
scored the goal,
I think it was 1-1. He scored the goal with 3 minutes to go and made it 2-1, unbelievable goal.
And that was a horrible place to play, wasn't it? Fulham,
nasty place, yeah.
Windy. Yeah. Was it when the stand was getting built at the back?
Dead tight.
It was when the stand was getting built at the back,
yeah. And he almost... I hate it when people say one player won the league for you, because that's just not true, but he was like a massive... I'm wondering if that was the season. He was that good that season. I think he wanted to leave. Yeah. I don't think he actually came in the next pre-season. He came in late because he wanted to go to Real Madrid.
Yeah. And
that's when I think the manager had to fly out to go and see him, to bring him in. Right. I think it was always destined. I think everyone knew he was going to Real Madrid. And I think the manager actually flew out to Portugal to see him. And I think they agreed that he'd stay one more season, then you can go. But I think that was the point where you thought, wow.
Yeah.
Look, there were many times some of the things he did, the way he hit the ball. Remember them movers, them dippers, them the free kicks that he used to take.
Did he ever say anything to you when he left? Do you know when he left? So
no, not really.
He wasn't a very chatty lad, was he? He was always in his own little world of training and weights and looking good. I was surprised he never come up to like you or a Giggsy or some of the older ones and like had a chat with you before he left. Because you did. I would imagine you did a lot for him. You'd probably say we didn't. But I know the characters that you are.
I think we
looked after him, yourself, Keeney, Giggsy.
He might not have seen us as a help though.
Yeah.
Because if we're constantly having a go at him.
Yeah.
Well, we are trying to help him. Of course you are. And we'd all do the same. When I look back at that, I always think, do I think he could have gone on or do what he did in the game?
Yeah.
It's just, it's outrageous what he has done.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody can sit there and say we've played with him and thought, yes, he's going to be the best in the world, or he's going to score that many goals and be one of the best the world has ever seen alongside Lionel. I don't think you can say that. But when you look back and think about it, he had all the tools to do it. He had the mindset, he had the way he looked after himself, the profession, he had everything about him to do what he's going to do.
Mm. No, for me, it's like, what disappoints me particularly with the Premier League and British football, it's the best league in the world, Premier League, but all the best players in the world always leave and go to Spain, whether it be Real Madrid or Barcelona. And I'd always wonder what it would have been like if Ronaldo would have stayed for another 45 years at United. Would he have become the superstar he is? I don't think he would have. I don't think the manager with his personality would have liked him to have gone onto that stratosphere as an individual, which he is now.
It's an interesting question, really, isn't it?
Because if you look at all the superstars, they never stay in the Premier League. They certainly don't stay at Man United. They stay until they would need to go to the next level. They see a lot of these Spanish, Portuguese players, they see the next level as Real Madrid, whereas we see the biggest, can't get bigger than Man United. You know, you leave Man United, you're going down. That's our mentality. And my mind is, would he have gone on to be what he is now, just staying in at Man United?
Do you think he would have won the Ballon d'Ors he won?
That's the thing, they don't get appreciated here like you get appreciated at Real Madrid. You can guarantee next year Mbappe will be playing at Ballon d'Or. Guarantee, because at Real Madrid.
Yeah. I agree. You think of Barcelona players, Real Madrid players. Yeah. There's not really many English players.
No, and knowing Cristiano
not much English players, but players who play in England who go on to win that.
No, yeah. And knowing Cristiano a little bit, nowhere near as much as you, he had that selfishness about him, didn't he? He wanted to be the best player in the world. He wanted to be the superstar. He wanted to everyone, all the eyes wanted to be on him. And going to Real Madrid has, I think, give him that.
That's where it gets at.
Yeah.
And it's obviously it's probably different for a Portuguese kid or Madeira or wherever he's from. I think Real Madrid would have been bigger than United. I think United was. I don't like to call it. It's not a stepping stone, is it?
No.
But
we can see that
him, for people like him.
Well, it's like Garnacho.
Bex went as well.
Garnacho.
Yeah.
He's doing well here now. He's a young Argentinian boy. You can imagine him, if he keeps going on the stratosphere he's going to go, wanting to go to Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Well, I think if you become a great player here, then the only place you can go is Real Madrid or Barcelona.
Yeah.
And I'd call it sideways movement, or maybe slight. No. I'd call it a sideways movement.
For us, I
wouldn't say going to Juventus, going to Bayern Munich. I'd say no.
Down.
No, stay at Manchester United. But there's something about Barcelona and Madrid where you think, I can go there, I can win the Ballon d'Or there.
Yeah. And that's my thing.
And they become obsessed with that, don't they?
They do, yeah. But when they do what they do with and it's not only them, it's the teams around them as well, isn't it? Because they become superstars, don't they? And it's not just on the football pitch, which is sad, but it's life nowadays. And if you look at what he's done, you can't say he made the wrong decision, can you? So, Scholesy, integrating players into the squad. You've obviously been there a long time when you was at United and seen so many players come in. I have as well. And you do try and help them, don't you? We're local lads. You tell them where to go, where not to go. You pick them. I used to pick a couple of them up from the hotel at the Four Seasons on the way into work and try and get them to be comfortable. Particularly, I remember Solskjaer, Ronnie Johnson, them all coming at that time. Henningberg, they're all great lads, but they need help. Is there anything you did or help with the lads, and how does the squad put their arm around them and look after them?
Yeah, but I look back a little bit. I think I could have probably helped more.
Yeah,
with players that come from different countries, especially. It must be so difficult to do that. But I was probably too quiet to do that.
Yeah, it wasn't your character, was it?
No, it wasn't in my character. I look back and think, I wish I would have done. Again, I was a little bit different because I was always North Manchester. Every player that came over came to your side, didn't they?
Yeah.
So that was a little bit different. I suppose I tried to help them on the training pitch, really, more than anything, by trying to lead by example, try and do the right things on the pitch. If you're in the dressing room, if anyone ever want to speak to you, then you're there, aren't you? And because I'd never experienced going to another club, well, you did, and you probably know more about it, and you probably got welcomed into a club as well. And I just never. I wish I'd done a bit more, if you know what I mean, especially with younger players.
I think we were a good set of lads, though. When they come in, we didn't. It was always bring them in, wasn't it? We took them out for
help
meals,
as well.
Help. It was a good environment to come in, and plus, there's a lot of people that move to Keeney, being an example. You move to the part of Manchester and they never leave. Yeah. He still lives there now. And some of the lads that have moved here, they stay in the area, and I think it's a testament to the people that bring them in. But I mean, I can remember a few. Can you remember any ones that we never really told them about the manager because it wasn't our place? But do you ever remember anything that happened with players where they go into changing rooms and they start speaking out of turn? I remember Yorkie when he first come in. I remember was it in Monaco, Fiorentina, Florence, yeah. And I remember
he laughed at something the gaffer said.
The manager tried to do the accent, the local accent, and I ordered some white wine. Remember? and Yorkie's gone, Gaff, you can't even speak. And we've all gone, oh, and he turned away going, and the manager's face went bright red.
He went ballistic.
And he snapped at him and went, you better play well tomorrow, giving it all that. And we're going deeper and down, saying, what a mistake that is. If you remember the next game,
he carried it on the night.
He carried it on the night because he was crap. They brought him off and then slagged him off about taking the piss. Oh, it was fun. It was brilliant.
But I always remember the thing I thought with new players, the biggest test for them was the boxes.
Yeah. Straight away on it, yeah.
I always remember people like Rio, and if Rio, maybe his first day there and he give the ball away, for fuck's sake, you pay 30 million for that.
Oh, yeah, do
you know what I mean? They must be thinking, shit, what have I come into here? Do you know what I mean? It's because the standards were that high, weren't they? Even in the boxes and the very first part of it, people got judged by them.
Yeah.
You know the best person I ever saw in a box? Bobby Van Persie.
He's brilliant when I seen him. I used to see him when I was coaching there. Ridiculous, wasn't he?
I've never seen anything like it. And he was coming towards the end of his career, and we only had him for 2 years.
Yeah.
But he was like incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
He's some feat. I watched him
and that
when I was coaching.
that's where I judge people.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly.
It's funny that, isn't it? Because that's. I mean, not many clubs will do them boxes all the time. And it was we did it every single day, didn't we?
15,
every
20
day.
minutes.
Box, jog, stretch, box, then into the possessions. And
I couldn't wait to. I love the boxes.
Yeah. They were ruthless, the boxes, weren't they?
Oh yeah, ruthless. You just kick shit out of each other as well. But they used to test people, didn't you? From right, I'm going to smash one into Dwight York. And see if he can control that.
But it must be really, really, really daunting to go into that squad. I mean, because you used to it, you've done it. I was used to it. But when I went to another club, I felt a bit nervous going to Newcastle and starting my first day training. But imagine a young kid going to Man United with the likes of yourself, Giggsy, Keane, Rooney, Ronaldo. It must have been.
They've got to have a bit of something about them, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's what it's when you talk about Wayne. You know for a fact he wouldn't give a shit about that. It wouldn't faze him. But whereas other players, it might do. And I'm sure if I went to another club, I'd be a bit, what's going on here?
Do you know what always really didn't frustrate me? Because he was playing my position, so it was actually quite fortunate it never happened. But when Varane came, he was a world superstar, wasn't he? And an unbelievable footballer. Unbelievable. But you could just see him wilt a little bit, couldn't you? Do you know what I mean? With the speed of the Premier League and all the kind of stuff that goes with the English football. Yeah. I don't think character-wise he would have well because he's a tough agent. There's no answering and people that are really tough.
I think a lot of South Americans struggle.
They do, yeah. And it's just that the environment that they're in. Forget the football.
His talent.
His talent was one of the best I've seen, yeah.
I don't think he could ever find a place to play, could he?
No.
Really.
And the tempo
didn't really work with me, didn't really work with you, didn't really work with Roy.
No.
It did at times, and sometimes you see some of the clips of he was amazing football. He's a good lad as well. He was in
great
like
lad.
A night out.
Great lad, yeah.
He was a good lad, but and that's why I put him with Anderson. Do you know in that? Now look, he was a lot fitter than Anderson, a lot more professional than Anderson. But again, it was like that position where he just couldn't seem to nail it down. Was he a number 10? Could he play behind the forward? Could he play out on the left? Could he play in the middle? You could never quite find a home for him in the team. But when there's always players like that, isn't there?
There is, and that's ability-wise, but character-wise and personality-wise, I remember seeing a few, like, within the first day, you're thinking, you've got no chance here. I remember Diego Forlan, no chance here. Yes, with Longquist, he even said it himself.
It's amazing with Diego, didn't it? What Diego did when he left us was incredible. I never saw that.
Golden Boot, and
I never saw that.
Never seen it now. But again,
Golden Boot of the World Cup, isn't it?
Yeah. But again, when I step back away from it and look at the characters that was in that dressing room or on that training pitch, forget the matches, because I believe the matches 90% of the time were the easiest part. It was the easiest bit. That was easy going on there at 3 o'clock and playing with you lot and beating certain teams. But the everyday training against the best players in the world that are your teammates in the boxes, then you got the Sir Alex looking over you. It must have been a really difficult environment to come into.
Yeah,
especially from people that are coming from a different country and they've got no understanding of the club, no understanding of the area, no understanding of what training was like. Because I remember Keeney at training. I mean, he was violent. He was horrible at times, wasn't it? Some of these players, and you're thinking,
to all of us,
and you're thinking
to himself.
If you've not got some serious self belief, you're going under.
Anyway, what do you think about the squad now? Then, we look over there. There's characters there. There's no doubt about that. Who do you think would be doing what we did, trying to help people settle into the team when they come over?
You'd have to certainly point towards the captain would have to do that. Whether he's comfortable with doing that or not is another thing, but it's part of his job, it's part of his role, and he does seem to have the ear of certainly all the foreign lads and so forth, and he seems to be the right kind of character that wants to drive people the right way and point them in the right direction.
He looks like he cares about people.
He does like cares, yeah, and he lives near where I live, and I see him in the village quite a bit walking around, and he always seems to be a approachable guy. So you're looking at him. You'd have to say then, I quite like the look of the keeper, mate. I know he's had a lot of stick, but he seems like a really proper lad who would look after people and talk to him. He's always seems to come across well in his interviews. Yeah. Maguire, they should be pushing.
But it isn't really that.
There's not the core. There's not the core that know the club.
English core,
there's not the core of the club.
Especially the core of local lads.
Yeah, there's not.
A lot of lads coming into us were probably quite lucky that we knew the area, we knew everywhere, we knew the club. Yeah. It's not really that there now, is it?
No, I'm trying to think.
We're talking about foreign players, we're talking about Bruno Fernandes, someone like Casemiro.
Yeah.
But we also have to remember that he's lived in Spain for I don't know how long. Yeah. He's just come over here.
And would they really know the dynamics of the football club? Would they know the history of the football club? Maybe, yeah. It's a tricky one, and I think it's a sad one.
Rude might have a big part to play.
He should.
Now.
He should. Yeah, he should. But it's a tricky one.
Fletch as well, of course.
Darren, yeah, that'd be one. But it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because times change, and you're not going to have that core of people that have come through a football club and know the dynamics and the history of the football club. And I think the biggest thing for me, footballers nowadays are all obviously unbelievably talented, and they go onto a football pitch and they're in the home. For me, it's how they act around a training complex with the staff. I mean, you knew the kit guys, you knew the laundry people, you knew the dinner staff, the chef, the cleaners, the receptionist.
We've only been gone 10 years. I don't know. I don't know anybody.
Yeah, it's all changed. But literally, it's a tricky one. And for me, it's like, do these lads need what they needed when they were with us? Because they come into our group that have won all these things and big characters.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you, do you think it's easier because we were winning stuff, it was easier to come in? You think now, a lot of these players, they must be worried about themselves and their own performance. Even Bruno Fernandes, even Casemiro, they've got that experience, but they've got to look after themselves. And they think, have I got the time to go and look after another kid or somebody else?
I wouldn't want to be a kid coming into this squad.
No, that's what I mean.
I wouldn't want to be a kid. And I'll tell you that Kobbie,
although Kobbie Mainoo's done brilliant.
Well, he's been and I've known him since he's probably 8, Kobbie. And he's like, his demeanour is very calm and very cool and collective. And he shows that on the football pitch. But he's had an unbelievable year last year. I think this year is going to be a big year for him. Because obviously his second year is always a big year.
Again, you can't expect him to be someone to help a young player come in, can you?
No.
At his age.
No. But like I say, remember the players we come about us all the time, but coming into our squad, it was easy.
So we're so lucky.
It was easy. We had men that looked after us. I mean, and I don't see many. I think Maguire's a man, and I think he'll do the right thing by players. I think
he'll be good for players.
He'll be good for players and a good character, a good player. Obviously, he has not had the best times, but I like him. I think he'll end up doing well for Man United. But I wouldn't want to be a young player coming to the squad because, number one, it's not winning. Number two, they're not in the best position to go and win or anything anytime soon. Obviously, FA Cup, but that is what it is. Yeah. But for young lads coming into this team, it'll be very difficult because what's happening is the young players are then becoming the best players. You've got 18, 19, 20-year-old players with Garnacho, Kobbie, Mainoo, they're the first names on the sheet. And to carry the football club at that age, and then not only carrying the club, expecting to win some of that, it's too much to ask.
Well, Marcus Rashford's obviously a very talented lad, but he's very quiet, isn't he?
Marcus,
I don't see him the type of lad to help young players come into the team.
No, Marcus is a quiet lad. He's always been very introverted with himself. Talented, super talented player, but he's never going to be one that goes and gets them all galvanised and come on, this is what we're about. And if it's not in your character, which it wasn't in your character, Scholes, I know you did it different ways on the pitch that you said, but it weren't in your character to grab them and go, come on, this is what we do. No. You just led by example on a training pitch, on a pitch. And I think Marcus is very much in that mode. He's not one that go out and speak about things and talk.
If you look back, it must be so much easier when you're winning every week.
Yeah.
Because you look at the City team now,
right.
You think, they might sign 2 or 3 players like this Savinho they just brought in from Brazil. All of a sudden just slotted in straight away, not a problem. Yeah. You don't hear any problems of living in Manchester, rain, anything like that. It's just settled in straight away. So you probably underestimate the position they're in. Yeah. It's harder to bring young players through when you're 7th, 8th in the league. You're not being successful every week. Yeah. And we found when we were doing it, it was quite easy for players to come into the team.
Yeah, and if you look at the spine of Man United now, they're all new players. You know, the lad who just got injured, is it the centre back? What's he called again? Is it?
Lenny Euro.
Yeah, Euro.
He's a young kid, isn't he?
Young kid. Yeah. You got Kobbie, Mainoo in the midfield. Yeah. Young kid, and then you got the
got a lad coming from Uruguay, is it?
Yeah, straight down the spine where we'd have Schmeichel, Bruce, Palace, Keane, Cantona. It's a total Mark Hughes. It's just a total different spine of the football.
It feels a messy group of players, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think you get away with young players on the left wing or off the front, but not right down the spine of your team.
So you finished 2012, Nick, I think. What did you feel like once you'd finished, and did you have any plans for what you're going to do afterwards?
When it was time for me to call it a day, I knew probably a year before, 9 months before, that I was hanging on by the skin of my teeth, but I didn't want to give up football because it was like, well, what do we do next? But if you remember, we did our coaching badges at a young age. You didn't do it, no, but we did our coaching badges at a young age. So I knew I always wanted to get into coaching, but I also knew I wanted to have a bit of a time of just doing nothing for 6-7 months and going on holiday with the kids in July and the school holidays, July and August, and doing that kind of stuff. So I was quite cool about retiring. It never fazed me. But what happened with me, weirdly, I finished in the May, it would have been, and I had a lovely summer off. I was over in Portugal for pretty much 9 weeks with the kids, which I never did. That was great. And then I started getting a bit bored of what to do. So I ended up going to Hong Kong, if you remember, for 9 months.
Oh, you
to
played
play
again, didn't you?
Play, because it was just a nice place, good for the kids to come over and experience a different culture. The money was good, so I'm not going to lie. But the environment of Hong Kong back then, it was such an unbelievable place to live. So I had a great time there, and then came back. That's when I started really going for my coaching, and then I went back to United. And I didn't get employed or nothing. I spoke to mine and said, look, I've got my coaching badges. I need to get some hours in now to get some. He said, come in, do this with that, do the reserve. I went with Warren Joyce and work like you did and work with Warren. Yeah. And I actually worked at United for nine months without getting a contract. And I even remember my ex-wife saying to me, you're stupid.
For no money.
I was going in on Boxing Day and thinking, and they're like, you're mad. I was wanting to get, prove that I'm not. I weren't doing it for money. I wanted to do it because I wanted to do it. Anyway, then one day the man turned around and said to me, I want you to be the reserve team coach. And then Warren moved out of the way. And then I went with David Gill, did a contract and stayed there for 9 years. So I didn't miss what I thought I would have missed, like the camaraderie around the changing rooms and the joking and the laughing and joking. I got that in different ways in a coach's room. So I didn't really miss anything. The only thing I would say I don't miss Saturday games at 3 o'clock. I used to hate Saturday games at 3 o'clock, made bizarrely.
Did you?
I used to wait. I don't know. We're talking
the most traditional time to play.
Yeah, but we're talking about in the other episode of the episode. I love the European games. I just love the night games. So I miss the big game at night time, or Liverpool game. I don't miss the day-to-day thing. I don't miss training. I don't miss the crap that you get around football, where people always want your time. But I do miss the big games. When that European night music comes on, or the big game against Liverpool at Anfield, that's when I miss football. I don't miss football any other time.
Do you know what? I'm a little bit different. I miss training.
Yeah.
I used to I love the games, don't get me wrong, and the euphoria that was around games, scoring goals and winning trophies and stuff, but I love training. And it wasn't so much the banter or being in the dressing room. It was just out there, being out there every day for an hour and a half, just playing football.
Yeah.
And I miss that now. I could have easily retired and done nothing for 30 years.
Yeah.
It wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
I didn't have to coach, didn't want to coach, didn't want to work.
Yeah.
I was just happy to just sit back, and if I could do that life, I would do. I obviously did my coaching badges later than everyone else. Managed for not too many games, did a little bit of coaching here and there. I do quite enjoy coaching. It was just never something I put myself into. I'd never go looking for it again, do you know what I mean? But if someone said, come and do an hour here, I'd do it and enjoy it.
How do you like the TV work you do?
Again, it was just something I fell into, actually. The first time I did it, Gaz asked me to do it for Sky. I did a game there, I think it was a Manchester derby, and nervous speaking, and didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. And then from that, I got offered a contract to do BT Sport, which is now TNT, and I do a little bit with that. But I find it just keeps you in with the game.
Yeah.
Do you know, I don't go to a game now, and I don't go to Trevor and think, I wish I was playing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's done. You're almost, you know about that. You're accepted that you've done it for 20 years and you've been happy with what you've done. So, I think it's just an acceptance.
That's it from Football's Greatest Eras with me, Nicky Butt.
And me, Paul Scholes. Thank you for watching and listening to the show.